Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Thanksgiving 2023. This is a new film from Eli Roth, rated R, with a runtime of an hour and 47 minutes. As of the recording of this video, we have a Rotten Tomato score of 82% for the critics, which feels surprisingly high for this type of film, which is excellent. We also have an audience score of 79% and a letterbox average rating of 3.4. In this film, here comes the synopsis. After a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy, a mysterious Thanksgiving inspired killer terrorizes Plymouth, Massachusetts, the birthplace of the holiday. Picking off residents one by one, what begins as a random revenge killings are soon revealed to be part of a larger, sinister holiday plan. Will the town uncover the killer and survive the holidays or become guests at his twisted holiday dinner table? As I mentioned, this is directed by Eli Roth with a story by Eli Roth and Jeff Rendell. This film stars Patrick Dempsey as Sheriff Newlon, Nell Verlake, who's pretty much our protagonist, as Jessica, Jalen Thomas Brooks as Bobby, Milo Manheim as Ryan, Addison Rae as Gabby, Jenna Warren as Julia, Tommaso Sanelli as Evan, Gabriel Davenport as Scuba. We also have Gina Gershon and Rick Hoffman in other roles that we won't name just to avoid any like big spoilers or anything like that. It has been a minute since I have gone to watch an Eli Roth film. After both of the Hostel films, I realized that maybe his style of filmmaking it's not my jam, but I think the marketing on this one was really effective, where it made me want to go to the theater and check it out. I think I love a good slasher, and I just knew that Eli Roth was gonna amp up all that stuff a little bit, and definitely it's there. I don't think it's anything over the top, and I think, and I'll get into it a little bit, but there is a style of like kills and gore that also comes with a little bit of camp that really finds a good balance between that. Like it makes it a little bit easier to kind of take in. There were still some moments where I knew something gross was about to happen. I would just kind of look away, or maybe that's when I would take a drink or something, like get a drink or whatever, like just get a little distracted or maybe look away from the screen. But yeah, there's, if you are into like these type of slashers where it's a very simple linear story, which the story here, I'm surprised the marketing, I feel like I only watched the main trailer for this, and they really managed to subvert the expectation of like what some of the inciting stuff was. For like the inciting incident for this, as I mentioned in the synopsis, it's that riot, that tragedy, that, so I wasn't expecting to kind of open like that, like just that opening sequence. It is so much fun when it comes to like this type of slasher film. I also find it very hilarious that, because you are in Plymouth, Massachusetts, like this is where Thanksgiving originated. This is where like you kind of go all out for that specific holiday. Um, it's very interesting that there would be like a town that centers its whole vibe around that Thanksgiving holiday, where like the mayor's all in onto it, and they have a parade, and like I know there's big things like that, but it just like it feels very interesting to have that set up in a small town. um I think also there were some choices with like the dialogue and the accents were like, oh, you want Massachusetts, we're gonna give you Massachusetts, which I thought it was fun. I think they were really fun choices, especially Patrick Dempsey chooses to have the, I don't know what he normally sounds like. I haven't really seen him in much, but I don't think he sounds as Massachusetts as he sounds in this film. Um, it's just very interesting stories. I think all the characters are very likable. Like all the teenagers that are kind of running around and getting killed are very, overall quite likable, which is fun. The film does definitely try to do a little bit of like, here's a few red herrings because we don't want you to guess the mystery until the end, and because this film is only about an hour and 47, like all that, it's very well paced, very well timed, right? There's enough time to set everything up, have a good time with the kills, enjoy the mystery, have our protagonist be chased around, and then kind of wrap things up in a good place. So that was definitely a lot of fun. So I really liked. There's some kills that are very inventive, like, and they kind of sometimes they just happen very suddenly and out of nowhere, like you feel like this is like, maybe the killer's chasing someone and like stuff like that, like, typical slasher stuff where you're like, oh, this is gonna go on for a little bit, and then it just kind of comes to a sudden stop in like the most hilarious and horrifying way. I think Eli Roth does that very well. You can tell a lot of the stuff was very practical, like when you see like people's guts and stuff like that, it like feels very tactile, which is very very cool. So yeah, there's plenty of gore to go around. There's a lot of characters that you feel like, oh, you're a bad person anyway. So like, good, you're gonna get what you deserve, get your just desserts for Thanksgiving. And they do one thing that you may have seen in the trailer, that it is the weirdest, craziest thing that I've seen in a long time, but it's definitely like on the topic of a Thanksgiving thing. When you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it is crazy. I think also once we get to the reveal of everything, this actually doesn't feel like it's a stretch. Like, think it feels like the movie set up enough with these clues where you're like, yeah, I can see how everything kind of makes sense or whatever. But yeah, once again, I love the over the top effects, like just the grossness of this, which kind of toes the line between gross and campy. Like some of these things that happen are so outlandish that you can't help but to be like, oh, that's crazy. Like, this is wild. So definitely in for a wild ride. I will say at my theater there was a large family that they brought kids and a baby, and that was interesting. They didn't make a lot of noise or anything, but I just figured, it was an interesting choice to see that a family would come watch this film. I don't know, maybe they didn't know what they were getting into. So I think that'd be a fun exploration of like, who is at your theater watching Thanksgiving with you this slasher film that is supposed to be over the top and gross and gory. But yeah, I really like the main character, Nell Verlake. I've never seen her or anything, but I do hope to see her in more stuff. I think she did a really good job, especially when it comes to portraying this like almost final girl type of performance where you're like, everything's closing in on you, everyone, like, you are, like, you, everything's revolving around you, like stuff like that. So yeah, really interesting, a lot of really cool performances. I love seeing Rick Hoffman, like he's just such an over the top actor, like it's really really fun. So yeah, I was quite pleasantly surprised and satisfied with this Thanksgiving feast. So if you have seen this film, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.